Now, a British businessman says that his latest project will help people in the UK afford to buy their first property. James Caan is best known to viewers in the UK for his role on the BBC show Dragon's Den, where small businesses seek funds for development. You may have seen it in a similar format around the world. Now, he's offering home buyers in the UK interest-free loans, interest-free, of up to about $80,000. The money would be used to cover a UK tax on home sales called stamp duty, plus legal fees. Now, the loans would only be available to people who buy through a property website, which is part owned by Caan. I suppose that's the catch. The TV Dragon is making $1.6 billion available to borrowers. UK house prices have fallen around 20% since their peak in 2007. Well, James Caan joined me earlier. He says his plan should boost the sluggish UK housing market.
One of the reasons we think the market's quite, sort of, I suppose, bland at the moment is because building societies and banks are not giving the same percentage that they used to. So you used to be able to get 95 or 100% on your mortgage. Today it's more like 85%, which means the consumer needs a much bigger deposit today. And to get the sort of deposit, which could be £15,000, £20,000, we think is actually quite a challenging number.
From a business point of view, an interest-free loan, I mean, that's an
I'm a dragon, by the way, yes.
That's an
I need to make a profit, yes.
Absolutely. What's in it for you?
I mean, essentially, we have a tri-party agreement. So essentially, there are three parties involved. You've got Look for a Property, which is a property portfolio, property portal. You've got LMS, which is the company which provides all the processing of mortgages. And you've got the estate agent, who introduces the property. And essentially, the three of us collectively have come together and are prepared to give up some of the commission that we earn to cover the cost of the interest so that the consumer has to pay nothing. We make a little bit less, but the strategy is if you do 10 times the volume that we would have done otherwise, everybody wins. Of
course, property has suffered a lot in this recession. As a businessman, do you get the feeling that we're through the worst of it now, that the recession is over? I mean, Britain lagging behind the rest of Europe, it would seem, in our upward trajectory.
I mean, there's no question. I mean, I think every economic indicator today is showing that we have absolutely, hit the bottom. So I think the strategy, certainly going forward, is I think the last quarter of this year, I still think it's going to be fairly rocky. But certainly all the projections that I've done, I'm working on the assumption that we're going to start to see an uptick first quarter of next year.
And how has the last year felt from your point of view?
Difficult.
Challenging.
Difficult.
Do you relish that challenge? Are you someone who sees opportunity in adversity?
I think it's really stretched a lot of entrepreneurs. I think this economic climate, I think, really brings out the best in you. I think when you're in a business and you've got your back against the wall, I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to perform better under pressure. And, we've had to make cutbacks, we've had to rationalise some of our businesses, and, I think it's been difficult. I think what gives me confidence and optimism is I think anybody comes out of the recession and comes out strong generally does incredibly well because you're leaner, meaner, and you're focused and you've got a strong platform. So I'm highly optimistic about the next 12 months.
So here you are starting a business at the bottom. What would your advice be to someone who's in a similar position, to anyone who's thinking about getting a business off the ground now?
I think right now, the key driver for businesses, I think, is if you have a value proposition. I think when you're in a kind of recessionary environment, luxury end of the market is probably not where you need to be. So I think if you're starting a business today, you really need to be focusing on propositions that is a value proposition to the consumer, because consumers today are very price sensitive. So I think any business idea or business that you're involved with, make sure that your proposition to the customer is the most attractive it can be, because they are very sensitive right now on making sure it's value for money.